This is Isaiah Cassidy. I'm Mark Quinn, and we're Private Party.
And you're listening to the All Elite Podcast.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the All Elite Podcast, episode number 51, right here on the No Holds Barred Network, your source for all wrestling podcast content and more. I'm your host, as always, of the All Elite Podcast, your self-proclaimed greatest host and CEO of the network, Kyle Masters, and I'm always joined by my co-host. She is the Executive Vice President of Giggles, the Heartbreak Chick herself, the Indie Queen, Tiffany. What's going on, Tiff?
I'm ready to do this. Let's
Man,
get
this goes. Awesome episode of Dynamite this week. Very, very exciting episode. I think, personally, is my own opinion. Since even just saying in my opinion, you're like asking for it on Twitter. So I'm going to say it here on the podcast so I don't get attacked that much. In my opinion, this is the best episode of Dynamite so far. I hate that. As soon as you say in my opinion on Twitter, it's like you're asking for it.
Yeah. I mean, we're asking for it going live on here.
But still, like the people, I love when people do that on Twitter. They're like, unpopular opinion, but, and then you're expecting not a reaction.
Yeah, it's very dangerous. That's why I try to just tweet positive things.
Yeah, it's
but
hard.
You just get crashed.
It's
I
hard.
think the second hour was better than the first hour.
But we had 7 match/segments in the show. It was jam-packed. We saw what happened at the end with the TV time constraint, which was pretty cool. I loved how it protected both men. I know it had mixed reactions, but this makes sense. You got to kind of look at it from booking-wise instead of just reaction-wise. You kind of have to see how it made sense. And it did. It protected both guys from getting both a L or either one an L, and there's stuff that happened after when it went off the air, which we'll go through, which is very important. So stay tuned for that when we get into that. But guys, welcome to the 51st episode of this podcast where myself and Tiff go over everything AEW. We give you Dynamite pre-show and reviews. We give you predictions for pay-per-views, reviews for pay-per-views. We've done interviews such as interviewing Brandon Cutler, Rick Knox, the referee, Maria Ling. We've done a lot of interviews on here with interviews coming up in the future. But that's what this podcast is about. If you're new, welcome to the All Elite Podcast. If you're coming back, welcome back to another episode, our 51st anniversary, Tiff, since we just celebrated our 50th anniversary episode. Which is really cool. We just did that, guys. Episode number 50 was our live Q&A with me and Tiff. Get you the fans out there of this podcast, get to know me and Tiff a little bit more about where we came from in wrestling, how we started, and how we got together to make this awesome podcast. Thank you to everyone who's tuning in, who's liking, who's subscribing, who's sharing. Thank you to everyone out there. So yeah, we're going to give you guys our full review and recap of this week's episode of Dynamite. So yeah.
Do you have tissues for me?
Tissues.
I'm so sad.
No, I didn't get tissues.
Private party.
Oh. Yes, unfortunately, Private Party did not win and move on.
That's it.
Picks.
I want a refund. I want a recount. Like.
God, you sound like a WWE fan. Ooh.
You better find a new co-host. See, you picked up that right now.
Anyways, yeah, it was a good match though, so might as well just jump into the review, I guess, of AEW Dynamite this week, live from Brittsburgh, PA. Very hot crowd to start. Interesting start to the show. We had no intro, no pyro, no nothing, no entrances. We literally transitioned into both teams being in the ring. And I think they did this because of the time constraints. It was a really jam-packed show, so they had to get that out of the way. So either way, I didn't mind it. I know a lot of people were criticizing it for whatever reason, but those are just people out there who love to complain and have to complain about anything. I mean, like, crazy concept, Tiff. A wrestling show starting with wrestling? Stop it. Stop it. Stop the press. Hold up, guys. Hold up. A wrestling show. Let's just kind of like whiteboard this, okay? Let me get the whiteboard here. One sec here. Whiteboard here. So, all right, wrestling show. Okay. Start. What do we start with? Wrestling. Stop. That doesn't exist. Wrestling show starting with wrestling? I don't think so. I don't think so. Sorry, Tiff, you're frozen there for a sec because I minimized Skype, but you're back.
See? Breaking.
I'm just passionate. It's a crazy concept. Wrestling show starting with wrestling. Interesting.
I'm almost sad. I would have liked to see Private Party with.
Yeah, I know the entrance and all that. You know, it's entertaining. It is what it is. But whatever. I didn't let it ruin the show for me like it did some people. I was fine with it. I did. To be honest, I really didn't care.
I understand it. I mean, like, you're right. It's not like a bunch of promo right off the bat into a wrestling show that takes up so much time. We got actual wrestling, so.
Yeah. So, we jumped right into the introductions of Private Party and Lucha Bros. The crowd was so hot. They were on fire tonight. Like, from beginning to end, the crowd was on fire. Pittsburgh, like, you guys are the best. You guys rock. So we had the intros for both Lucha Bros and Private Party by Justin Roberts. Crowd very behind both teams here. I was telling Tiff off air here that I think this is the most over I've heard Private Party. So they're definitely growing with the AEW fan base that have no idea about Private Party and where they came from. So I think they're definitely turning a lot of heads, especially out of this match. They went toe-to-toe with the Lucha Bros. And they kept up throughout this whole match. This whole match was insane. And I understand the critics out there that said it was over-choreographed. And it kind of looked like both teams were slowing it down a little bit.
Yeah.
At some points.
Ended a couple of times, but I mean, I like the match with Private Party and Young Bucks more. The chemistry was better. I mean, that's just my opinion of it. But
but this match was good. I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. Like that's what tag team wrestling is. It's showing you what the chemistry of both teams can do with each other. And we saw a lot of it. We saw a lot of innovation in this match. We saw a lot of crazy spots, and we saw why both teams are so good, especially and I think Private Party had a really good showing in here. I think the Lucha Brothers did a good job on the spots to put them over, and they did a really good job of it. And we had a lot of good spots where Lucha Brothers still looked strong. Like, this was a very evened matchup. Like, there was no one team dominating over the other. It was very back and forth from the beginning to the end of the match.
I still love the star press off the rope and the tornado. Oh my god, that Isaiah does.
Oh man, that was clean.
Oh my god, I love clean. It. It's just crazy. But if you've seen them before live, I mean, I've seen a bunch of these moves. I mean, that star press. I've seen Quinn do it so many times. It's just like you said. It's clean. It's beautiful. It's just.
It's very well executed.
Why they not the first tag team for the champs?
But I think it was I don't know who on commentary mentioned it after, but one thing we can take from this is Private Party are so young. They still have so much to give. Even though this is not going to be their time, they are a team to watch for the future and will definitely be back in the title picture 100%. If they went toe-to-toe with the Lucha Brothers and gave us that type of match, expect to see Private Party in the main scene in the tag team division from now on. They definitely proved that they can keep up and hang with the big boys here.
They're gonna get the gold. It's gonna happen, and I'm gonna throw a party.
So
I'm invited to the party, okay?
Wow.
A little gin and juice, baby.
I'm gonna buy the shirt, so I'll be invited.
Thank you. Buy the shirt. We'll go into StarCast together, okay? Because
I gotta rock the shirt I ordered of AEW Tees, the brand new store, open now. I ordered my Kyle Masters' Elite shirt. I'll probably be wearing that all weekend. So,
no, still, you gotta do what like my friends do when they do certain meet and greets. They change their shirts for the person that they're meeting.
Yeah, I should bring a bag.
So yeah, it's just like.
I'll have to do that. I'll bring a drawstring bag. I have my AEW drawstring bag. I'll just use that. There you go.
There you go.
Anywho, this good match. Lucha Brothers, very, very good finish. I love the finish of this match. Very, very high octane finish, very quick. Lucha Brothers ended up getting the win. and they'll go right to the finals. This is actually kind of shocking. We kind of predicted that Private Party would win here, but they went. I mean, it would have made sense for either team to go through here. So Lucha Brothers, congrats to them and going to the finals. And then we didn't have to wait long for the other semifinal matchup because we got it right after. But in between this, we got another promo. I was wondering when we were going to get another vignette for him. Another Wardlow vignette. This one a little different than the others. This one was more showing how like his physique and him weightlifting and just like how much of a beast he looks. So I'm excited to see how and what Wardlow is bringing to the table. I hope it's nothing like it's not anticlimactic. He finally debuts and I'm like, that's it, really?
Debut at like Full Gear? Because we've
Probably.
only 3 matches announced for Full Gear.
Yeah, it'll probably be a Full Gear. Probably be like a Peter Avalon squash. Like Peter Avalon will be in the middle of the ring, like promoing on the crowd, and Wardlow comes out. Depends though. It depends if he's going to be, I think, a babyface or a heel. Mm-hmm. If he's going to be a heel, I don't think he comes out against Peter Avalon. If he's a heel, I imagine it's they do the whole local talent kind of thing, and they just have him destroy some rando, or like a, I don't know.
They did with Proud and Powerful.
Yeah.
Brothers.
Yeah, they bring in like an independent scene person, so we'll see what happens with that. But I like the idea of Full Gear for the debut. Yeah,
it was good. Yeah.
I don't want it to be anticlimactic. I hope there's more to this guy than his vignettes, because some of the vignettes have been cool. I think it's because we're used to WWE being anticlimactic for these things sometimes. So I hope it's a different direction.
Can't think like that. I don't think like that anymore. I really don't. So my mind does not go that way anymore. So that's what I'm thinking. Maybe Full Gear. I mean, what are we, like 2.5 weeks? Not even.
Close.
So close.
Very close.
We only got 3 matches. Like, when are we gonna start announcing all these matches? So.
I don't know. So yeah, we didn't have to wait long. SCU versus the Dark Order.
Love their gear, by the way. I did.
SCU's gear, fire.
Yeah, I tweeted her yesterday, and she thanked me. I was like, I love your gear. I just, I
loved it.
Young Bucks and SCU, that she definitely does the gear for 100%. Brandon Cutler, obviously. But I love the blue. Ooh.
And SCU is very over with the crowd. They are very, very over with the crowd this week. I told Tiff off air, I'm like, this is the most over I've heard SCU so far in AEW. And you had Dark Order come out with Tiff's Creepers.
Creepers that I'll probably see tomorrow.
Yeah. So the match was interesting. I was paying close attention to it. The Dark Order is not getting, they're not getting over in terms of getting heat. They're just kind of boring in the ring and nothing to it. I love Stu Grayson though. Stu Grayson is a really good piece of talent. The guy is really, really good. I enjoy watching him in the ring. But it started getting slow, and I think AEW did a quick audible here. I imagine that Jericho and the Inner Circle were supposed to come out after this match was done. I think they audibled into them coming out mid-match while the crowd was starting to die off, and it really turned the crowd around, and they got hot, and they're coming through the crowd with their tin hair showing I got tickets. We're not going to be here, but I got tickets.
I feel like it took away from the match. I understand why they did it, but it just didn't really make as much sense.
Yeah, it was weird because then they were still doing wrestling and the crowd wasn't. They're all turned around and looking up.
But it took away from the match.
Maybe they should have all just stopped and kind of stared at them. I don't know. It was weird.
Or something, but I wasn't really behind. Again, like I said, I understand why they did it. That doesn't mean that I liked why they did it.
Right. But. So they got up to their little booth there, and then like their free popcorn, a little bit of bubbly. And the crowd finally turned around and started paying attention as we got closer to the end of the match. Yeah. Very cool. A lot of near finishes, a lot of cool innovative tag team moves near the finish as well. But man, I thought for sure when there was that spot where they did the double submission, I thought that was it. I'm like, okay, this is it. The crowd's hot for this right now. Like they should tap out, a double tap out. But they didn't decide to go with that. They ended up going with a pinfall, and I was shocked to see SCU win this one. I thought for sure Dark Order all the way through.
Right. It makes more sense.
Yeah. Story-wise, that's why they went the story direction with this one with SCU and the Lucha Brothers. We know what their beef that they've had over the last couple of weeks. This is stemming all the way back from like the pay-per-view, actually.
I'm wondering if, because of the fact that Luchasaurus did get injured, did this play a factor to change everything up?
I think it might have been an audible. I think it probably was going to be Jungle Express against the Dark Order in the finals. Two different new teams, right? And like Rick Knox said in our interview, like, don't be shocked if they push newer teams at first. This is definitely an interesting audible, but it's a audible that makes sense.
Right.
With the turns of storyline. I love it. It's just not a random, they just didn't pick random two teams and threw them in the finals like other companies do. But no, they did a good job with this audible, and I love this tournament so far. And I love the fact that both semifinal matches were right at the beginning of the show. I actually love that they got it out of the way. It just felt like a tournament. You know what I mean? Like WWE's tournaments, they suck. They don't feel like tournaments. This felt like a real sports tournament, and I love the way they did it. It's exciting for the future when they do future tournaments. I can't wait for them to do that. I have a feeling that they're going to do some sort of King of the Ring style tournament in the future. Whether they're probably going to call it something else, but I have a feeling they're going to take that concept and make it their own. I'd love to see a tournament like, especially in AEW.
Or like a mid-card.
Yeah, maybe they do a tournament for the new mid-card title. That would be sweet.
If they do a mid-card, I feel like that's a perfect way to get the mid-card. I love tournaments, so fingers crossed, right?
Yep, for sure. So SCU, moving on. So next week, the finals. I thought for sure they would make it in the pay-per-view, but we're getting the finals already for the Tag Team Championships. SCU against the Lucha Brothers, and this one's a tough one to predict. I'm going to wait till the pre-show next week in order to do that for us, but... man, I can't wait for that. Cannot wait for that.
I would have loved, like you said, I would have loved this to be crowned at Full Gear.
Yeah.
It just feels, but I understand.
Yeah, they did announce it way back, right? When they were announcing the cities, they're like, because next week I believe is in Charleston, and they announced, I'm pretty sure it's in Charleston next week. I could be wrong. But they did announce when they first announced the dates that the tag team titles would be defended here, that the final of the tournament would be at this date. So, yeah, again, we'd like to see that the pay-per-view.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be defended at Full Gear, but I just would have, I don't know, I think it would have meant a little bit more.
Yeah.
But I understand also you got to give something for, like, the TV tapings as well.
Mm-hmm. So, two hot tag team matches right off the bat. Loved it. Then we had Kenny. So we had Joey Janela in a match. So originally, in the original graphic that AEW's Twitter account tweeted, was Jack Evans against Joey Janela, and I thought it was an interesting concept match. It was, it's different, it's something new. But Joey Janela, they pull a little bit of an audible here. I guess the word of the day is audible, but Joey Janela facing Kenny Omega instead here, and I'm like, okay. We do find out that Jack Evans got moved to the dark match, so I don't know what the booking was there. I don't know what happened. I have no news about why they switched it, but we're getting the rematch from AEW Dark from last week between Kenny and Joey Janela. That crazy hardcore match, or from 2 weeks ago, sorry. That crazy hardcore match.
Right.
No, it was shown last week, but the match happened 2 weeks ago. That's what I mean. Okay, anyways. No, it's confusing when AEW Dark doesn't happen until like a week after.
We just watched this, but it was a good match.
So this, and I was telling Tiff off air, to the people who just called, and I've seen it a lot, Joey Janela just a stunt guy. He's only good in hardcore matches. This showed you that this guy can go toe-to-toe in a wrestling ring if it just stuck to wrestling. Yeah, we had the one spot in the match where he kind of like put his body on the line. He did that dive where he laid on his back on the edge of the apron. But the whole rest of the match was so good. From start to finish, this was a really good wrestling match. And I just want to say something. Like, seeing Kenny on weekly TV is so refreshing and awesome because we're not used to that. We're used to him only doing like independent promotions or doing like once every couple of weeks thing.
But yeah, because New Japan's all over the place. It's not like weekly really. So
I just love seeing him on weekly TV. To me, I don't think it's overdone or overused. I don't imagine they're going to keep doing it. I imagine Kenny being a special attraction that he is. We're not going to see Kenny on weekly TV like going forward for it. I mean, like in the next couple of months, I don't expect to see him week by week. Maybe in a segment, but match-wise, because we know that AEW is doing the whole, if I put it into a sports terms, load management type of style where they're not overusing their wrestlers, which is good. It's good for longevity. It's good for injuries. But this match was so good. Back to the match. Joey Janela and Kenny had an outstanding match. I'll give it a 4.5 star Dave Meltzer rating. This was so good. If you missed it, I highly suggest you go back and watch this match. It definitely, again, like I said, it definitely showed that Joey Janela is actually a really good wrestler as well.
Yeah.
So I love that it showcased that.
Oof. That reversal that he did on Kenny Omega, was it the Fisherman? Buster. Oh my God! Like jaw drop.
This is sweet, and the crowd again was still hot at this point. They were really into this match. It was so good. My eyes were glued to the screen. I was at work watching this, folks, and I had to stop working just to watch this match because it was that good. I kind of paid for it at work anyways, but anyways, it was such a good match. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed Joey Janela out of this, and Kenny really made him look good. It looks like it definitely showed people as well that Joey Janela can have a good match with the right person in the ring as well. So Kenny ends up winning.
I love how we also had Chris Jericho up saying, "This is awesome."
Yeah.
That was making me laugh.
The panaways, yeah. I felt there was a little bit too many throughout the show, though. I think they kind of followed WWE suit there, and I'm like, they kind of have to stop doing that. They overdid it a little bit, just a little bit. They overdid it.
It was funny. It was making me smirk.
That was funny though. When you did that line, that was funny.
This is awesome. This is awesome.
Yeah.
This is like the bubbly, the popcorn, and.
But Kenny wins. Guys scooping up W's lately, getting back into that win column and improving his record, which is really cool. The one cool thing is, if you guys haven't done so, if you go to AEW's website and you click on their roster, it shows like the roster and actually shows you guys their records and overall records like on their little things, which is really cool.
That's good.
Kenny back in the win column, going above 500 in his record thing. Joey Janela, I mean, he's got a really terrible record here, but
he needs a win, but he doesn't really care so much.
He's looking good. No, he's looking good in the ring. This was definitely a really good match, and like I applaud Joey for this one, 100%. We moved on here, and we had a Cody Rhodes segment, so he came out, and there were a lot of people giving shit to Cody here for his entrance.
Oh, he's always got pyro.
Yeah, he's always got like over the top pyro and stuff. I'm like, guys, come on. Like, do you really need to complain? Like, what is the problem? What is the problem? Don't people complain when there's no pyro at all? Then when you get pyro, it's like, oh, there's too much pyro. Like, what? AEW does a perfect amount of pyro. Now you're complaining about it.
For every match, like him, the way it was just very dramatic.
But then I see these people complain. I click their display. But like with these people that complain about the pyro, you click the display picture and it's a WWE person. I'm like, okay, I know why.
Oh, God. Okay.
Yeah.
So.
Anywho, Rihu. Cody Rhodes coming out, getting interviewed by Tony Schiavone in the ring. Funniest thing, this was an unreal segment. Like while he's trying to talk, all you hear from the press box is the stupid air horn things. They got a bunch of them. Every time Cody's trying to talk, they're blowing them into the mic, and then Jericho cuts him off, and then Cody brings up and throws I don't see this as a shot. I just him just saying that it's not like the company we came from. I can actually step over the ropes and come up there and fight you. They're just kind of let we're not gonna do what they do. We're gonna do what we do.
Yeah, but he said this isn't like the other company we came from. So I mean, me personally, and I know I've talked about this before, I'm tired of the shots.
Yeah.
I don't know. Brad said in the chat, he goes that Cody's like he's the only one that enters from the middle like that. He's like their Triple H. But I don't know. Again, like I said, I'm tired of the shots because it's not necessary. Like you're supposed to be better than that. Focus on your show. But that's how
Hold up, Tiff. If you were there in the crowd, you would have went, oh, right? Kid you not? You would. Don't lie.
Just because of that doesn't mean that
you would though. You would though.
Like that.
I'm just saying, you would though. It was for the crowd. The crowd popped. It did what it needed to do.
Okay, whatever.
He got the reaction.
Okay.
And then like Jericho's egging him on. He calls him a self-entitled little, what's it called, a millennial bitch. So Cody starts getting heated. And he's about to go up, and he's like, "Fine, come up, 4-on-1. We'll take you. We'll take you." If anyone's wondering about Jake Hager, he's training right now. He has a big MMA fight on Saturday, so he's away training for that. So that's why he wasn't there. So he's egging him on, and then Cody, before he gets up, he gets smart. He's like, "I got people." So Dustin comes out, And then MJF comes out, and then DDP comes out, and he got a good reaction. So he brings his army, and they go up there, and then Jericho is scared, runs away scared like he is, locks himself in the room with like a glass window. And then it's logged, and then Cody's like, okay, hang on. And MJF sacrifices that, what do we find out, like $700 Burberry scarf? Because, you know, paying $700 for a scarf is a good thing to do. Anyways, he wraps it around Cody's hand and then punches the, quote-unquote fake glass. But anyways, it looked cool. They open the door and they start brawling around. They make their way up into the concourse. And the best part ever happens.
Yes.
Tiff tweets about it. Cody Rhodes shoved Jericho's face into a bucket of Dippin' Dots.
I want some. There needs to be a shirt. We need to tweet Pro Wrestling Tees and tell them to make a shirt.
Jericho
shirt
lived my dream. Jericho got his face shoved in a bucket of Dippin' Dots. We can only dream of this scenario. But Jericho lived it. The guy is really the GOAT. So Dippin' Dots, ladies and gentlemen, decided to tweet at AEW.
Yeah.
And they put, do us a favor. Don't hurt the Dippin' Dots. It will make you a flavor. Rocky Rhodes. And then
awesome.
and then tweets at Cody Rhodes. And they put a picture. I don't know what I'm looking at. Is that the Rocky Rhodes Dippin'? What am I looking at this picture? What is in his hands?
Looks like, that he's holding a bowl with the dipping dots. That's so awesome.
That's hilarious.
But yeah, they do need to make this as a flavor. Like it would sell out like crazy.
Actually, I wonder if I screenshot it. Someone actually tweeted the different flavors and they put it towards AEW stars names next to it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, I didn't. I wish I had a screenshot of that. They were funny. They were really funny. I wonder if I can actually pull it up here because I really want to read them. They're hilarious and made the most sense.
That's great. That's so great.
Let's see. Dippin' Dots.
I need to get some. It just always reminds me of that carnival. Like you go to the carnival and you get some dipping dots.
Oh, the carnival.
The carnival.
For me, Dippin' Dots was at amusement parks up here.
Yeah. Well, that too. The amusement parks. It's just crazy.
Do you remember flavor wise? Did you ever have a favorite flavor?
Was it the chocolate chip with the cookies and cream?
Oh yeah, that was so good.
Yeah,
those were so good.
There, give me. All right, I'm gonna go get some. Bye, guys.
Yeah, show's over. We gotta go. We gotta just buy Dippin' Dots ice cream.
At the supermarket, but what are dipping dots? Okay, dipping dots. I know because Maria's not from the States, but obviously Kyle has it too in Canada. It's ice cream. They're like little dots of little ice cream. So you get a spoon, and they come in a little cup. They're all loose, and then you just scoop a whole bunch, and then
Weren't they labeled at one time as the ice cream of the future?
Yeah, because they're small. Then they melt in your mouth.
Yeah, they're little powder. I don't know what to compare the size to them to.
They're very tiny. It's very. They're little balls. They're very tiny.
Little balls of ice cream.
That New York accent.
Yeah, I can't find the tweet. I'll have to find. When I find it, I'll tweet it. But it was so funny. It was putting it. The guy put AW stars, and then he put the flavor that they would be called after. It was funny. It was good. But yeah, that was funny. It was probably the best part of the segment. And they started brawling some more, and then right at the end, Jericho with a sad face, home, like, "I got tickets." This was just priceless. It was so good, so good. Then we had another match. We had the Young Bucks and versus the Best Friends and Orange Cassidy. So Orange Cassidy's back. He actually tweeted that he was in Australia at one point. I don't know what was going on with that.
I love it.
But before the match even starts, Orange Cassidy actually got in the ring and started doing his kicks to the shins to Young Bucks. And I love the crowd. The crowd reacting to it makes the whole spot. And then they both double super kick Orange Cassidy out of the ring. We get into the match. This match is very, very good. Again, this was another match where we already know what the Young Bucks are about. We know how good they are. This is another match to show that if people didn't know about the Best Friends, they know that they can go, and it really put them over, I think, in a sense. There's a lot of good spots throughout this match that the best friends looked very, very good. And I knew somewhat how good they were. This definitely put them on another level. This was really, really good. It shows that when they have another team in the ring that's just as, if not better, they can have a really good match. And I enjoyed this match.
This was my match of the night for me personally.
Ooh.
Really, that's how good. I don't know. Young Bucks, they meshed with anybody in the ring. They always put on great matches. This match, and then of course Orange Cassidy with his spots as well. And since I've been a big follower in the indie scenes of Orange Cassidy, I just love it. I can't wait till he's actually wrestling in the ring, so you guys can enjoy that. And I know a lot of people are not a fan of Orange Cassidy in the ring, but again, as I always say, you have to keep an open mind with wrestling. It's supposed to be entertaining, but
it was funny. It was good, and I love the spot he had. He did the whole dive onto the Young Bucks, the hands in the pocket.
Yeah, that's his thing. Yeah,
it's a good match. This is very, very entertaining.
Wait till you start seeing the orange juice.
AEW tweeted a photo. They had a graphic designer create the freshly squeezed Orange Cassidy orange juice. That's funny. That's got to be on a T-shirt. That should be.
That could be merch that Matt.
T-shirt company. We're T-shirt company. Has to be.
Matt has to wear it in one of the Beats Elite episodes.
Oh my God. That's the segment. Matt's wearing it, and then the camera turns back, and Orange Cassidy's there, and he just does the thumbs up thing. That's got to be it.
Yes.
If you guys are listening, being Elite and everyone there, you can take our idea. I don't care. Just give us a shout out.
Oh God.
Get us a Dippin' Dot sponsorship.
Ooh, there we go.
AEP flavored ice cream.
Yes, I'm still on the train with Keep It Girl. We got a Nakazawa versus Cassidy match. Yes, please.
That's a future AEW dark match for sure.
That'd be a dark match.
Or
with that.
Full Gear pre-show match.
Yes.
That'd be just a hilarious match to watch. We know you're not getting, you're going to get some wrestling, but you're watching this match for the entertainment factor between these guys. So yeah, as for the match against Young Bucks and Best Friends, really, really good match. Tiff's match of the night. It was good. I really, really enjoyed it. And then after the match, Young Bucks answered the challenge to Santana and Ortiz, accepting their challenge for Full Gear. So we're going to get the Young Bucks versus Santana and Ortiz, Pride and Powerful at Full Gear. That's going to be a sweet tag team match.
Take my money. Oh, wait, you did.
I wonder if they should make that match a number one contenders match. Because from now the tournament's done, how do you determine number one contenders, right? You need to just randomly do it now, because both these, I know Young Bucks got eliminated first round, but there's a lot of heat between these two teams.
One of the weekly tapings?
Yeah. We'll have to see.
We'll see.
So we moved on to the homecoming for Britt Baker, or in Brittsburgh, PA, as they call it. And she had an interesting opponent. So we got to talk about the opponent first. So her name was Jamie Hayter, and I had no idea who the hell this was. I had to do some research.
Revolution Pro Wrestling and Stardom, as she tag teams with Bea Priestley. After seeing this, she kind of reminded me a little bit of Bea and a little bit of
Paige.
A little bit. I was like, she needs the beast.
So I got hooked right away.
Yeah, I was hooked.
Yeah.
And the crowd was really.
Yeah, I actually reached out to someone on my timeline that was talking that they knew her, and I DM'd them asking her about her, and I'm like, you know about this girl, and I'm like, I'm in love. I'm hooked right away. I hope she gets signed. So
Brad said she's better than most of the women roster in the chat.
No, she was good. I loved the way she played her character well. She embraced the heat. She was trying to generate it. I appreciated that. She even got in a little interaction with a fan at ringside. She tried to rip the sign. I've never seen a fan win this interaction. I've never seen a fan hang onto the sign that tightly, and the rest just gave up and kept going.
I loved it.
Yeah. So,
to be signed. I hope in the future she gets signed.
I'm sure I'll keep an eye on her. She was good. The whole match, she was really good. She had a good showing. This wasn't just a Britt Baker squash match. She killed it.
Match, yeah.
But Britt Baker coming out in her entrance in Steelers themed gear, coming out with the Steelers mascot as well. So I got the crowd was already hot for Baker, but then they had the mascot and they're just on fire. I loved her gear. And Britt Baker is she's on a list of wives, that's for sure.
Coat With her, it said Brittsburgh in the back. I liked it. It was
So it was a good match. Like Britt Baker got a good showing, but I loved how they still put Hayter over in a lot of spots. So I think that's a good thing. I think giving her that time to showcase her means that they have an eye on her. So I hope we see Jamie Hayter in the future. As for the match itself, I thought it was really good. A lot of good spots. Decent women's match. Britt Baker hits her finisher with a submission move for the win, and celebrates in her hometown. So AEW does go the route of not burying their own talent in their hometown. So we love that. So there was a little incident backstage. So Jamie Hayter was actually getting interviewed, and for some reason, I don't know why or what the thinking behind this was, and I don't know what's going on. I'm still confused about it. But Brandy Rhodes literally just attacks the shit out of Jamie Hayter and throws her. And then she just looks at the interviewer pointing, you. and that was it. I'm like, what the hell just happened?
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. I mean, I guess this is our build for...
I don't know. I'm like, what's going on here? What's the... Like, what? There's no explanation. I'm like, what's going on? So I hope we do get an explanation later.
Her to, like, face Brandy so she gets a contract for AEW, maybe?
Maybe. I don't know what's going on there. Hopefully that's something. But that was a different side of Brandy that we haven't seen yet. So I'm loving it. So we'll see. I'm confused, but I'm loving it. Then we get the main event with some TV time remaining. I was curious because I looked at the time and I'm like,
what?
What's going on here? We're having this Pac and Moxley match. I'm like, is there going to be a run-in? Are they even going to have a match? Or are they just going to brawl?
I mean, the way that it ended and everything, I kept saying, I was like, this should have been saved for a pay-per-view. You just gave it to us. I understand you got to have great main events for your weekly tapings, but I felt this was too, but the way that it ended, it makes sense that it's going to continue.
Moxley was making his entrance, and as soon as his power was done, Pac came out of nowhere and attacked him with the chair. And I'm like, okay, so Pac is being more of a chairman than Sean Spears. I don't know what's going on here. Just saying.
You should tweet him.
Yeah. So they're having their brawl. I'm like, okay, so this is how it's going to go down. They're going to have a brawl, and it's never going to be a match. But they end up getting back in the ring, and the match starts. I'm like, okay, what the hell? I'm looking at my watch. I'm like, what's going on here? And they're having their match, and it's a really good match. There's a lot of good spots for the time they had to get in, especially the one spot where Pac did his 450 splash on the outside from the ring apron was really cool. But they got down to it, and the TV time went out. The referee had to stop the match. It was a draw. And then Jon Moxley got pissed. This is where I was talking about at the beginning of the show. Jon Moxley got really pissed because there was no TV time left, and DDT is the ref. And then looks into the camera right at the end of the show and saying this is bullshit. So I loved it that it saved both wrestlers from getting L. We talked about that already. I thought it was a good job. We knew that they were going to do something like this. It's grooming the crowd, and it's grooming the watchers about this.
Yeah, it protects them both, that they both look good. And Brad even said in the chat, it was perfect. Now we want to see a rematch with no time limit. I 100% agree with that. So
we have some news about this, which I'm going to get into right now. So we saw what happened at the end of Dynamite with, Pac and Moxley, and, there's no time limit. So after Dynamite went off air, Hangman Adam Page took a seat in the ring, and he had a demand. He wants another match with Pac, and he wants it at Full Gear on November 9th. Pac then attacked Moxley, and then Kenny Omega ran down for the save. And then Omega and Moxley started teaming up against Pac. Hangman Page came down next and chased Pac away. And it certainly seemed like something is still brewing. So it's weird how... I just found it weird that Omega and Moxley were teaming up. Are they facing each other?
But
are they not teaming? Are they not facing each other? I was so confused.
They are.
I'm gonna have to see footage because I don't know if this article is accurate or not. Because I found it weird when I read that. I'm like, wait, what?
It makes sense with Pac and Moxley teaming together. Then when he helped with Kenny Omega a couple weeks ago. It's just weird. So, but it always plays out in the end. There's always a reason behind their madness.
Mm-hmm. So. Right now, as it stands, Moxley and Omega are still set to face each other one-on-one at.
I feel like it's going to
Full
turn
Gear.
into a 4-way. I really do. I feel like this
You would
is
have
like
to add a stipulation. You can't just have a random 4-way.
contenders, like maybe like a number one contender.
That's what I mean.
Whoever wins. This is what I've been thinking.
You have to have that. You can't just have a random 4-way because they brawled.
I don't know. I would like to see it, but we all want the match with Omega and Moxley, and I don't know. I feel like I'm going to be a little upset, but at the same time, like I'm not going to be upset because it's still going to be a really good match. But it's the match we were supposed to have at All Out, and if it turns into a fatal 4-way, again, it's still going to be a great match.
See, I can see 4-way because they had a tag team match and they gave a lot away in that match between Kenny and Omega, or Kenny Omega, Omega and Moxley.
Right.
The only way it's gonna be a 4-way is the number one contenders. If not, they're not. I don't see them doing a 4-way. It'll be Pac and Hangman in one match, and Omega and Moxley in the other match. So we'll have to see what happens. Right now, it's unclear. It's a weird.
3 matches.
Yeah.
Well, we got 2 weeks left, so we have 2 Wednesday episodes left, and 2 more being the Elite episodes left before Full Gear. So they have to start it now. We need to know the women's a tag team.
I'll have to see what. I have to go look at the footage and see exactly what happened. I was just reading from an article there, and it's weird when I read Moxley and Omega teamed up against Pac, and I'm like, why? Doesn't make any sense.
And I feel like we're gonna get an 8-man next week.
An 8-man.
Well, 4-on-4. That we're gonna have Ortiz, Santana, Sammy, and Jericho versus Cody, MJF, DDP, and I feel like that we're gonna get. No, or After Dark. I was talking about.
I don't know if DDP can even wrestle anymore.
I was thinking about that as well, but he's loyal to like WWE. But I know like he's good friends with Cody. I don't know.
I don't think he can wrestle anymore.
Okay. We're just talking. So
Just talking.
We're just talking.
Yeah, really weird what happened off the air. I need to go watch some footage of that because I was so weirded out when I read that.
Well, we'll see next week, right?
Maybe. I don't know if that's going to be on Dark. I think that's just a off-air kind of thing. Unless they did it for Dark. We'll have to see. But speaking of Dark, there's 2 matches announced for Dark next week. So we know Jack Evans is going to be here in some capacity this week. He got moved to the Dark match. I don't know if Kenny was supposed to be in this triple threat match. It would have been weird if he was. But now the 3-way match is Jack Evans, Jimmy Havoc, and Darby Allin in the Dark match this week. That's an insane triple threat match there.
I like that we get to see like them in singles as well as them being tag teams.
This is interesting because 3-way means anything goes because there's no disqualification. You have 2 out of the 3 guys there that are absolutely nuts when it comes to no disqualification. Yeah. So this is interesting. I'm excited to see this match. I love that they kept the Darby picture with him with the champ all over it.
I love it. I love his paint.
Mm-hmm. So interesting 3-way match next week for AEW Dark. Another interesting match is I'm excited to see because of the one person in it is Dustin Rhodes and Sonny Kiss are teaming up in a tag team match against Peter Avalon and QT Marshall.
Yes.
Of all people.
Apple guy.
Apple guy.
What are we calling him that? Like Apple guy?
Yeah. So interesting. We had the whole undesirable segment with Cody with him for Dark this week. Mm-hmm. And we found a lot. I didn't know. A lot of people. I didn't know he was a professional wrestler. So we found that out this week, and then looks like we're gonna see him in the ring next week on AEW Dark. So I'm excited to see what happens in this match.
Take my money.
It's actually free on YouTube.
I know.
Yeah, really good episode of Dynamite this week. Very interesting ending to Pac and Moxley, saving them both. Interesting to see what happened when it went off air. It was a lot of matches, a lot of content this week. I personally thought it was their best week so far. And we're going to be interested to see what happens next week. We have the tag team tournament final for the championship, see who comes out on that, and more matches to be added. We'll see what happens in the next week here, leading up to next week's show. So exciting stuff for AEW.
Yes.
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 Really quickly, guys, before we go anywhere else here, follow us on social media at All Elite Podcast on Facebook. Follow us on Instagram at All Elite Pod. And follow us on Twitter at All Elite Pod. You can also follow myself at Real Kyle Masters. My co is at Loves to Dream 82. And while you're here on YouTube, youtube.com/No Holds Bar Network. Yes, that's right. I changed the URL. No Holds Barred Network. Head on over, hit the subscribe button and the bell icon for all notification updates. We're also available on the go on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spreaker, Spotify, Stitcher Radio, CastBox, iHeartRadio, Player FM. And I believe we are now on Podcast Addict, another new app that's been added. So we are on there as well starting today. So go check us out on there, folks. All links are located down in the description below on the YouTube version of this podcast. Another thing I want to talk about is the AEW Tees store is official, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, it's open for business. So basically it's the beta. I've kind of like made it just so I can get it out to you guys. I'll be editing it on the go. As the future goes on with this store. So right now it is live. Right now, allelitepodcast.secure-decoration.com. The link will be down in the description below on the YouTube version of this podcast and our Twitter page at All Elite Pod. Really cool, easy to use website. All our t-shirts are on there. All our merchandise is on there. Some new merchandise from our old store. And as well as the most important part, this is really cool, guys. We are partnered up with our friends from These Wolves to have their t-shirt on our store. You can see it there in the bottom left of the ad here. If you guys can't see it, head on over to the store. It's a really cool looking shirt. These Wolves, music for the elite. Love the logo. Definitely going to pick myself up one of those. They're proud to team up with us to offer the exclusive merchandise at the AEP merch store. All proceeds, again, are benefit Culture City, which is a non-profit organization dedicated to fight for inclusion and acceptance of all individuals, regardless of their unique abilities at all AEW events. So all the proceeds for these items, guys, on the store are donated directly to Culture City. So you can follow them on on Twitter at Culture EC or Culture C on Twitter. So thank you, These Wolves. And as always, thank you, These Wolves, for letting us use the song Dead to Me for the theme song for the All Elite Podcast. Guys, go check them out on Facebook, facebook.com/These Wolves, on Twitter at These_Wolves, and on Instagram at These_Wolves as well. So thank you again to our friends, These Wolves, for letting us use the theme song Dead to Me for the All Elite Podcast. Yeah. Other than that, folks, I didn't really have any news. There really wasn't that much out there this week. It was quiet. They just announced they do dark matches for next week, so it just looks like there's going to be 2 dark matches next week, and then the undeniable segment with Cody. So I'm excited for next week for AEW as we continue on here on this journey, and it's been awesome so far. We're almost at Full Gear. Sorry, I forgot the whole name of the pay-per-view. Excited. Me and Tiff are going to be there. So if you're going to be there and you see us, just wave hi. You can wave at us. You can
come up to us.
You can do whatever you want.
It's fine.
Say, flip us the bird. Do what you got to do.
You can give Kyle the bird, and you can come say hi to me.
Well,
with the wonderful Fat Pharaoh.
Yes, Fat Pharaoh will be joining us in Baltimore. He's coming along, ready to meet people, take pictures. You don't have to pay to take a picture of Fat Pharaoh. He's free. He'll be free at StarCast.
Oh.
Anywho, Rihu.
That needs to be a shirt.
Yes, I'll eventually make a logo for that. I just got to think of a design. That's probably going to wrap it up for today's episode, guys. Not a long episode, but we review and recap this week's episode of Dynamite. Look out for the next episode next week. Make sure you're following our Twitter page to let you know when we're going to be live back here on the air. Make sure you check out other shows on the network, on the No Holds Barred Network. We have The Next, NXT podcast dedicated to your NXT needs. Awesome host Skelly Bones on there, doing an awesome job every single week of previewing and reviewing the show. His review should be up tomorrow at some point, so look out for that, and make sure you check out his episodes. We're
going to set a date for Under the Ropes.
Yes, Under the Ropes, another show myself and Tiff do for interviewing independent wrestlers. We have another one lined up.
Yes, Riley Madison. She's a valet. She's gorgeous. You're gonna love her.
So that's
She's
line.
on
Yeah.
live.
That'll be sometime next week as well, so look out for that. Make sure you're following the No Holds Bar Network on Twitter at NHB Network, so you can keep up with that as well. Other than that, guys, is probably going to wrap it up for this episode. I'm your host, as always, the self-proclaimed greatest host and CEO of the No Holds Bar Network, Kyle Masters. As always, I'm always joined by my co-host. She is the Executive Vice President of Giggles, the Heartbreak Chick, the Queen of the Indies, Tiffany. And guys, we'll see you guys next week for the next episode of All Elite Podcast and Under the Ropes. See you guys later.